Are you thinking about moving to Delaware? Has the city of Milford popped up in your research? Well, did you know that Milford was one of the fastest growing towns here in Delaware? And in this video, I'm going to explain some of the reasons why I think everyone is moving to Milford. And some of them may not be as obvious as you think. So you're going to want to stick around to the end of the video. But what I can promise is that after watching, you'll know everything you need to know about Milford, and you might be ready to pack your bags and move here to Milford, Delaware yourself. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Brandon Windom. I help people buy and sell homes here in Delaware. I've lived here my entire life, and on this channel I talk about what it's like living here in Delaware. And if you're potentially thinking about buying or selling a home here in Delaware, I'd love to have a conversation to see if it makes sense for us to work together. So I'll put my info on screen now and again in the description below. Feel free to reach out. So from 2020 to 2023, Milford has actually had the biggest change in population in the entire state of Delaware. It's about 17.5%. And that's even more so than everyone's favorite town, Middletown. So I wanted to make this video and actually break down some of the reasons why I think everyone is making the move to Milford, Delaware. So the first reason has definitely got to be the location of Milford. So Milford is located in between two counties. So it's located right at the bottom of Kent County, and it goes on into that northern tip of Sussex and goes on down. So you kind of get the best of both counties. If you're someone who loves the beach, Milford is definitely a great city for you just because it's only about 20 miles south of the beach to Milford. So, I mean, as far as drive time goes, depending on traffic, you're looking at maybe anywhere from like 25 to 30 minutes. But if you're someone that's maybe, active duty or retiree, so you wanted to be closer to Dover because of the Air Force Base or anything like that, you can head north. And again, it's only about 20 miles away, again 20-25 minutes as far as drive time goes. And so Milford is kind of positioned very perfectly right in between the middle of the capital of Dover, and then if you want to get down to the beaches such as Lewis or Rehoboth or anything, and it's 20 miles each way, so it just makes it kind of perfect. Now I don't know if this actually counts as a location thing, but this is where I'm going to put it in the video just because I think this is where it makes the most sense. Now, this is probably more so a characteristic of Milford, but Milford is pretty big when it comes to actual like land area or land size. So Milford actually ranks number 6 as far as the biggest city by land area in Delaware at 9.45 square miles. And just to give you some perspective, I feel like I'm picking on Middletown here, but compared to Middletown, Middletown is bigger, but it's not that much bigger. The total square mileage of Middletown is 11.61 square miles. So like I said, I'm not picking on Middletown, but it's just, they're very similar. Middletown has experienced a big amount of growth, and it went from a very rural area to being built up. And the same thing is kind of happening in Milford. And just to show that they're very similar in size, that Milford can handle that type of development without being super crowded, as well as keeping some of those rural spaces as well. So now that we're speaking about development, that actually is going to bring me into my second reason, and that's because Milford is growing at such a big pace, and there's so much development there. And there's been a ton of development, both residential and commercial. On the residential side, this is a plus because if you're someone who's looking for a new construction home, I'm not going to say there's an abundance, but there's a lot of opportunities in Milford, more so if we were talking about, Newcastle County. If you've been doing any research or looking around, there's, trying to find new construction in Newcastle County in areas like Newark or something like that is, basically not it. You're not going to find much, if any. But one of the side effects to all of the residential development, it's actually a good side effect for a buyer for the most part, is that you're going to have a lot more options when it comes to new construction down here. And because there's more of an abundance of it down here, that means that you tend to get a little bit more bang for your buck down here in Milford because there is a lot more options. So these builders have to be a little bit more competitive in their pricing. And as far as, having more options, that's not something that we've been able to say in Delaware real estate or just in general in the last couple of years after the pandemic. But now if we switch focus over to the commercial side, that's been growing rapidly in Milford as well. Every time I turn around, there's always some type of new business or new experience or new service being added in Milford. So whether it's the new Bay Health Sussex campus or the Nemours that's attached to it and all their like little satellite clinics they have in that area because they bought so much land out there, that's a plus for services. You got Milford Movies 9 that just got built, Delaware Southern Golfing Club, Big Oyster Brewery. There's just a ton. I can't even mention all of the other like small, like plethora of small businesses and local businesses that open up there, you know, all the time just to give new experiences. And Milford shows no signs of slowing down. The city of Milford has done a really good job attracting, you know, both large and small businesses and kind of fostering that positive and inviting environment for those businesses as well, which is great for anyone who's thinking about moving there or already lives there, because it's just going to bring more business to the area, which is going to mean, you know, more jobs, more experiences, more things to do, perhaps more services, and more people to the area is just an overall bonus to the area. And another reason that I think a lot of people are moving to Milford is just the overall vibe of it. And it's kind of hard to explain. Milford has a very unique vibe. So Milford is definitely small town USA, but you just can't classify it as, you know, just a small town. You know, everyone knows everyone there. You have everything you would expect in a small town. It's very community oriented. I mean, the city's always throwing all type of events. You know, you got 5Ks, flea markets, parades, city council meetings, festivals, everything that you would expect in a small town. But even though it's a small town, since Milford has been doing such a great job attracting these new businesses to the area, there's a lot of unique experiences that I won't say you'll only find in Milford, but that you won't find in other small towns that are comparable to Milford. So you have, you know, unique experience restaurants such as like a fondue restaurant. You have one that's a speakeasy or like a play off of that. You have 2 breweries in the town. You have Mispillion, and then you have Big Oyster. You have like fancy dinner night places to where as though if you wanted to go to a place like an Italian restaurant like Bienvenuto that feels, you know, more so upscale, or maybe Surf and Turf, which is another restaurant that's like, you know, more of a date night type of place. And you have all these experiences here that you wouldn't find in other like really small towns. And so you get all that small town charm. So something that you would maybe find in you know, a bigger city, you get in Milford with that small town charm. And so you get all the pros with, you know, not a lot of the drawbacks with traffic and all those things that go in with being in a bigger city. And again, because of its location, if you decided to, you know, go somewhere like you say you wanted to shop, because there isn't a lot of stores, you know, like shopping malls or anything like that in Milford. But since you're so close to the beaches, you could just hop in the car, drive 20 minutes and get to the Tanger outlets, you know, right there in Rehoboth. And then you have a plethora of, you know, tax-free shopping. So like I said, again, the vibe there in Milford is kind of the best of both worlds. If you just wanted to, you know, buy a piece of land out in the rural part of Milford and just be left alone, you can do that. Or if you wanted to be more so in the, you know, the city of Milford and, you know, get all of these, you know, cool amenities that you wouldn't find somewhere else. Or if you wanted to go out and get a drink and, you know, go to a nice restaurant or anything like that, you can do that as well, because Milford kind of has the best of both worlds. And you wouldn't have to drive to like a new city to do so. And speaking about cities, I actually did another video discussing another city right here.